we'll start in rock pose. Option, of course, to curl the toes under, but I don't recommend it at this stage of our practice, simply because we want to be focused on our breath, not yet on physical sensations. Bringing our awareness inside with a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth to start. Noticing what happens to the muscles in our faces, our neck, our shoulders. One more just like that. Noticing the length of our spine. Our shoulders are rolled back. Our chests are slightly lifted. And our chin is parallel to the floor. Either a soft gaze of the eyes or the eyes completely closed. Bringing our awareness back to the breath and the steady rhythm of the inhale and exhale through the nose. Noticing if our breath starts to slow a little, which might even bring a little bit of space between the thoughts and the chatter in our minds. Creating a little space between our minds and our thoughts as we start to focus more on the physical aspects of our practice. Perhaps setting an intention for today's practice, maybe reflecting on intentions that we've been working through over this new year season, setting ourselves up for a productive and peaceful 2022. Reminding ourselves that sometimes all we need to do is let the paint dry, and everything will fall into place as it should in its own time. Bringing our awareness back to the space around us, blinking our eyes open, and we'll slowly move into some traditional cat-cows to warm up our spine. Bringing our hands underneath our shoulders, our hips are stacked above the knees. And when you're ready, go ahead and take your first deep breath in, leading with the tailbone, pressing the earth away, lifting the chest through the arms and gazing upwards. Starting again with the tailbone as we exhale, rounding the spine, pressing the earth away. And we'll do a few of these, gently warming ourselves up, connecting with the rhythm of our movements to our breath. Noticing the opening of our abdomen and the space being created between our vertebrae. And as we go with each inhalation, we'll curl our toes under our shins and slowly start to lift our knees off the ground, hovering the knees. With the exhale, curling, looking back to our toes, flattening our feet on the inhale, pressing up again, gazing upwards. Exhale, curling our toes under our shins, hovering the knees a little bit higher each time. Slowly working our way into down dog with purposeful motion. engaging every muscle in our body. Enjoying the feeling of engaging the abdomen and allowing for more space and traction in the neck. Let's do 2 more and we'll meet up in our down dog. Slowly pressing the armpits to the earth, lifting our sit bone, and floating our way into down dog. When we get there, taking a moment here to pedal it out, checking in with the back of the legs, allowing the head to hang heavy between our arms. Maybe slowly shifting our weight and opening our side body, moving out some of the cobwebs that may have been created, any stagnant air or energy that may be creating a bit of blockage in our flow and our fluidity. One more big breath here. And we're slowly going to float from down dog into a plank. Maybe walking the hands out a little bit farther. Inhaling to plank. Exhaling to down dog. Slowly and gently warming up the back of the legs, the shoulders, the abdomen. Pressing and moving again with purpose to the rhythm of our breath. Bringing the hips only so far as they are parallel to the floor, holding our plank strong. Option to slowly tap one foot with the opposite hand as we come back into our down dog. Starting to challenge our strength and our stability in our 3-legged dog. Two more big breaths. And then we'll all meet back up in our down dog. Lifting one hand and reaching it to the opposite leg, either reaching for the knee, the calf muscle, or towards the ankle, pressing our weight into that leg, finding strength and grounding of our hand and arm. Focusing on the breath and the strength we're building. Releasing any tension on our neck and jaw. One more big breath here. And we switch hands, finding grounding now in that opposite hand, lifting across the body, reaching to wherever it feels most comfortable. Not pushing too far, too fast. One more big breath. Now we bring both hands now to the earth. Good job. Rinse it out. Maybe wiggle the ankles around, lifting one foot at a time. Crick, crack, crick, crack. Good. And we're going to slowly start to incorporate lunges into our flow. Lifting our left leg up. Pressing our weight into the right foot. Gazing forward, coming up on the toes of the right foot, stepping through. Crescent lunge to start nice and high, reaching our arms all the way up over our shoulders. Finding that stability and length. Somewhere to gaze at. Even strength and balance between our legs. And we're going to float through a low vinyasa, bringing our hands back to our plank. Stepping through plank, chaturanga option to do our press-ups here in 1, 2, 3. Back to our down dog. Then we'll do the same sequence on the right leg, lifting it off the earth. Options to add chaturanga press-ups or a full vinyasa at any time we're ready. Gazing forward, stepping up left toes, stepping through high crescent lunge, reaching tall, elongating the spine and the sides of our body. Calm, even strength between both legs. Hinging forward, planting our hands, stepping back into our plank option to do our 3 press-ups, chaturanga, and down dog. Good. We'll slowly incorporate moves as we go. Option to always come back to down dog or child's pose. Stepping back into our crescent lunge. Lifting our left leg high, gazing forward, stepping through. Inhale, bringing our arms all the way up over our shoulders. Adding some pulses here to work on the strength of our left quadricep. Inhale, we straighten the legs, option to swing the arms. Pulsing up and down, finding somewhere to gaze at, finding the grounding of our left foot and the toes of our right foot, strengthening the quadricep and warming it up, maybe even feeling this all the way through to the glute. Moving to the flow of our breath, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, lowering down. Two more. Good, holding here. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way back up over the shoulders. Exhale, we hinge forward, hinging at the hips, planting the hands, stepping back. Plank, holding here, coming through a vinyasa or press-ups. Whatever you need today, we do that. And we all meet up in down dog. Good. Option to pedal it out, taking a breath in between as we start to generate a little bit more heat and energy. Inhale, reaching the left, right leg all the way up. Pressing our weight into the left, gazing forward, coming up on the toes of the left foot, stepping through, crescent lunge again. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. You know where we're going. Option to bring the hands to heart center straight away. Option to inhale, reaching up, straightening the front leg. Exhale, we lower down. Arm motions are optional as we find our stability and our grounding. Digging back into our Ujjayi breath. Using it to balance the sympathetic nervous system. knowing how beneficial our breath work can be in every situation that we might find challenging or stressful. 2 more. Last one here. Coming back into our crescent lunge. Hands are at heart center. Inhaling, reaching them up over our shoulders. Exhale, we hinge forward, stepping back into plank. Chaturanga press-ups optional. Vinyasa optional. Keeping our torsos nice and tight. We meet up and down dog. Good. Go ahead and rinse that out. Taking a few deep breaths in between. And we move back to our left side. Inhale, lifting the left leg high. Gazing forward, stepping through. Once again, crescent lunge, reaching our arms up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center, finding that stability between both legs. And then we'll rotate over the left leg. Gentle rotation. We may sink a little bit lower. Pressing our right elbow into the left leg. Gazing upwards, tall torso. Steady rhythm of breath. Maybe rotating a little bit more, pressing the elbow into the thigh. 2 more big breaths here. Rotating back to center, planting the hands, stepping back, plank. And we'll all do a vinyasa, lowering all the way into chaturanga, upward facing or cobra, gentle back bend. Exhale, curling the toes, pressing up, down dog. Well done. 3 deep breaths in between. We reset. And on the next inhale, we lift our right leg. Gazing forward, stepping up through crescent lunge, finding our calm strength. Inhaling, reaching our hands up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. And we rotate over to the right. Pressing the elbow into the outside of the leg, elongating the torso, breathing space between the vertebrae, gazing up beyond the elbow. Calm strength. Finding somewhere to gaze at. Perhaps digging into an affirmation. 2 more big breaths here. Pressing the elbow into the leg. Checking in with the hip flexor. And we rotate back to center, planting the hands back down into our chaturanga, upward facing or cobra. Inhaling. Exhale, down dog. Curling the toes, press up. And we're back. We reset. Letting our heads hang heavy, rinsing it out. And of course, we always have the option to stay here, to come into child's pose, whatever suits us. Good. Resetting, left leg floats up. Then we step through into a warrior 1. All the way through, planting the back foot perpendicular. Inhale, reaching our arms up. Maybe we're in a warrior 1, maybe we're in warrior 1.5, depending on how that feels on our lower back. Tall torso, lunged left leg. We can see our toes beyond our lunged leg. One more breath here. Good. Hinging forward. We have our plank, vinyasa, whichever one suits us. And we meet up and down dog. Good. Same thing, other side. Next inhale, we float the right leg up. Gazing forward, stepping through, warrior one. Pivoting and planting that back foot. Inhale, reaching up, checking in. Can we see our toes? Are we in a strong lunge? Dynamic tension through both legs, engaging the glute, pressing the hips so that they're underneath us. Tall torso, reaching through the fingertips as if we can touch the sky. Option to keep the eyes open or closed if we want to work a little bit more on our stability. One more breath. Good. Planting the hands, plank, vinyasa, or chaturanga press-ups. And we meet up and down dog. Good. Keeping this flow going. We're going to step through to warrior two this time. Next inhale, left leg floats up. We gaze forward, we step through. Warrior two, planting the back foot, bringing our arms parallel to the floor, reaching through the shoulders. Again, we check in with the toes. The glutes are engaged, the hips are underneath us. Drawing the shoulder blades in and back, engaging the entire body. Gazing over our fingertips, extending to the front. Dynamic tension through the whole body. Calm, even, steady rhythm of breath. Feeling our hearts racing. Good, next inhale, we bring our arms over our shoulders. Hinging forward, pivoting, plank, vinyasa, or press-ups. Meet you in down dog. Resetting, taking our 3 breaths in between. Pedaling it out or finding stillness. Appreciating the warmth that we're generating to build a little more flexibility. Next inhale, right foot comes off the earth. We gaze through, stepping, warrior two. Once again, we check our form first. Perhaps we close our eyes this time. Making the pose what we need it to be. Two more big breaths. Tall torso. On the next inhale, we reach our arms over our shoulders, pivoting our back foot, hinging, planting the hands, plank, vinyasa, or press-ups. Down dog. One more sequence. Good. Next inhale, we lift our left leg. Gazing forward, stepping through, back into our warrior two. Finding our pose. Checking in with every part. The toes, the hips, the arms, the jaw. Good. We're going to come over into our side angle pose here. We're in a lunge. We take a deep breath in. And then we straighten the front leg on the exhale. Inhale, we lunge. Exhale, we straighten. Triangle. Extended side angle. Repeating this to the rhythm of our breath. Letting that left arm slide up and down the leg. Reaching the right arm tall. 2 more. Good, keeping our triangle pose here, reaching the right arm tall. Noticing what's happening in the side body. Excellent. Lunging, inhale. And we reverse our warrior, holding our lunge, reaching the left arm beyond our faces. Two more breaths. Now we windmill our arms all the way down, plank, vinyasa or press-ups. Down dog. Meet you there. Taking our few breaths in between to reset. We'll do our other side. And then we'll come into a child's pose for a restorative reset. Good. Next inhale, right leg floats up. We gaze forward, we step through warrior 2. Checking in once again with our pose. Where are our shoulders? How is our jaw? What's happening in our lower body? Good. Bringing our right hand to the inside of our leg, reaching the left hand high. No specific destination for that right hand. Letting go of expectation here. Deep breaths in. And on the exhale, we straighten the front leg triangle. Inhale, we lunge back down. Maybe a little lower each time, maybe not. Allowing that right arm to float along the inside of the leg. Moving to the rhythm of our breath. Two more. And we all meet up in triangle, holding that front leg straight, reaching the left arm tall, pressing the hips forward, checking in with the side body, maybe the lower back. Option, of course, is to lower that left arm. 4 more big breaths. 2. We come back into our lunge on the next inhale. We flip and rotate into our reverse warrior. Inhaling, holding here for a count of 5 big breaths. Excellent. Windmilling the hands all the way forward, pivoting the back toes, plank, vinyasa, or we've got our chaturanga press-ups. Meet you in down dog. Taking a few breaths here to rinse that out, balancing out both sides. And when you're ready, go ahead and float into a child's pose. Maybe bringing the knees a little wider, allowing for our torso to fall in between. Coming off of our hands. Option, of course, to bring the hands behind the back and to wring out the wrists a little bit. Of course, if our forehead isn't quite ready to reach the mat, we can stack our fists or our hands underneath. Just taking a few moments here to reset, to rinse out, and to reflect on our intention. Maybe it's shifted a little, noticing the energy in our body. Option, of course, to take a sip of water Rolling ourselves up gently. And then we'll all float back up into all fours as we're ready. Good. We're going to do a little bit of crow work today, a little bit of floating, a little bit more work for our upper body as an option. So when we're ready, we take a deep breath in, and on our exhale, we step into our down dog, curling our toes, finding our way back up. Let's do an extended down dog here, walking the hands out a little bit farther. We're going to bend our knees on the inhale, and we're going to exhale, press the knees back up, straightening the legs. We'll repeat this 4 more times. Inhale, we bend. Exhale, we press the knees back. For 3, for 4, and 1 more. Inhale, bending the knees, coming up on the toes. Option to step through to forward fold, or option to try and float. Pressing all of our weight into our hands and the toes, and a gentle little hop as a first step. Coming into our forward fold, however we get here. Meet you here. Opening up our feet a little bit wider than hip width. Toes are pointing out. And we'll inhale, lowering down, squatting into Malasana. Exhale, we straighten the legs again, hinging forward, hanging the head heavy. We'll repeat this. Inhale, Malasana, looking up. Exhale, back into our forward fold. Repeating to the rhythm of our breath. Fingertips are pressing into the earth. Good, 1 more. Pointing the toes forward. We bend the knees slightly. We sweep our arms up, extended mountain, inhaling. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a breath here. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, halfway flat back. Exhale, forward fold, sweeping the arms all the way up, extended mountain. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll repeat that a few more times. To the rhythm of our breath. Finding the depth of each pose that suits us. Always taking a deep breath in between. Two more. One more at our speed. Holding here. Reaching our arms up all the way, extended mountain. reaching for one wrist and coming into a side bend. Keeping the hips underneath us by pressing the glutes forward, not collapsing into the inside. Reaching tall, creating space in our side body. Big breaths. Our neck is neutral with our spine. One more breath. And we come back to center. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Deep breath in between. And again, we inhale, reaching up. Grabbing onto the other wrist. Coming into our side bend, tucking our hips underneath us. Reaching tall. Finding grounding through the anchored leg. Deep breaths. Using our breath as a guide. If it's labored, perhaps we're pressing too far, too fast. No competition here. One more big breath. On the inhale, we reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Deep breath in between. Side out. Good. Stepping back to the top of our mat, we'll incorporate our sun salutation, coming all the way down. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, swan, diving forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And bringing our hands down to the earth, walking our feet out again, Malasana squat. Bringing those knees to the outside of our upper arm. Option here to stay in Malasana. Option to work on our crow pose. Perhaps we want to bring one toe off the earth at a time. Maybe we wiggle our feet in a little bit. Finding grounding of our hands is first and foremost. Maybe shifting around just to get a sense of how we feel, if we feel that this is for us today. And when we're ready, we can hinge ourselves forward, coming up on our toes, wherever they might be. Option to grab a block. And then slowly, we build on our confidence and our stability by lifting one toe off the earth at a time. Continuing to work on our stability. We gaze forward, and perhaps we want to float all the way in to our crow today. We haven't done this in a long time, so maybe we just want to get familiar with being inverted, familiar with the sensations of our lower back, familiar with our wrists and our strength of grounding in our toes and our fingers. Let's take a few moments here, pressing our knees into the upper body. Maybe lifting both toes up for a few breaths, a few seconds, whatever that might be. Coming out of it, coming back into Malasana at any time. Noticing how the core engages. Finding somewhere to gaze at. Calm inner strength. Again, we let go of judgment, expectation, and competition. We don't worry about where we were last time when we did this. We don't worry about others. Taking another minute, just playing around. Or holding in our Malasana. Getting a sense of where we're at today. Last few breaths. Good, and we all come back into Malasana, opening up our feet, being proud of what we managed today, wringing out the wrists, pressing our arms into our inner thighs, elongating the torso, catching our breath. And coming with our hands to prayer. Pressing again a little bit more into the inner thighs. Elongating the torso, noticing the length of our spine, of our chests, and of our breath. Good. Coming all the way down onto our glutes, into fire logs, stacking our legs one on top of another. Either in a figure four, double four, or coming into more of a Gomukasana, whichever works for you. We'll stretch out our lower back and our hip flexors, inhaling, reaching our arms over our shoulders. Exhaling, hinging forward, keeping the length of our spine. And then melting. As soon as that hip starts to want to leave the earth, that's where we start to walk our feet out. We want to keep our sit bones firmly planted. And again, we might think we need to be in a certain position, but we don't. We need to be where our body tells us it feels right. Just like in everyday occurrences, listen to what feels right. Trying not to force something that isn't meant to be. Things will happen as they should in their own time. And we maintain confidence in that and faith that things will in fact work out as they should. Again, coming back to our dicho, to let the paint dry. On the next inhale, we press our torsos up using our hands. Coming out of that into a Dandasana, extending the legs long. Ooh. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then we tuck our opposite leg underneath. Changing sides, once again, starting somewhere and then letting our bodies tell us where we should be. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hinging forward. And as soon as that hip starts to lift, maybe we walk our feet out or in, maintaining contact with both sit bones. Elongating the torso on the inhale and then exhaling, melting towards the earth. Noticing the sensations in our hips and our lower back. And perhaps we're noticing some micro gains. Let's celebrate those, honoring the state of our bodies. Perhaps reflecting on any intention we may have set at the beginning of our practice. And on the next inhale, we'll press our torsos back up using our hands. Coming out of that gently, giving the legs a little wiggle, extending them out in front of us, flexing the feet, toes are pointed to the sky. Making sure our sit bones, once again, are firmly planted. On the inhale, we reach our arms up. Exhale, we hinge forward, reaching the arms beyond the toes. Option to add a dynamic pulse, option to hold a passive Dandasana, whatever feels good for you today. Either tapping into sensations and working on our resilience, or working through a little bit of microfiber blockage. Perhaps we want to do both. Checking in with the sensations in the back body. Maintaining steady rhythm of breath and keeping those toes pointed up. A few more breaths here. Good, and on the next inhale, we roll our spine up, gently stacking the vertebrae, shoulders, neck, and head. Rolling the shoulders up and back. And we're going to float our way into a side plank. What would it be without? This time our lower leg is going to be supporting, so in a 90-degree angle. We're on our forearm. Our elbow is straight underneath our shoulder. Good. And on the inhale, we lift our hips up, reaching our arm high. Option to hold here. Of course you have options. Option to crunch the knee into the elbow. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, crunching if that's what we're doing. One more big breath. Good. And we hold, come all the way down. Well done. Floating our way to the opposite side. Bringing our elbow underneath our shoulder. Our bottom leg is at 90 degrees again. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale, lifting the hips, holding here. Or, of course, option to crunch in like a star. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Two more big breaths. Good, and we come all the way down. Lowering gently, floating into prone pose. Coming onto our bellies. Allowing our chest to slowly melt towards the earth. Bringing our hands underneath our forehead. Shifting our hips, flattening the feet. And bringing our forehead down to the hands, allowing our lower back to assume its natural curvature. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose, drawing that breath all the way through to the base of the spine. Big breaths, noticing the rib cage open laterally. Bringing awareness to our third eye between our eyebrows, either visualizing the color purple, or perhaps visualizing our happy place if this isn't it. Checking in with the sounds, the smells, the temperature, and just being present in that moment. Noticing our mind might wander. Noticing it and then bringing it back to the breath, to our third eye, or to our physical sensations. Notice how the breath and the physical sensations may have changed from when we first came down into prone pose. Just being aware of those micro changes. Aware of the heartbeat. and the energy running through us. Bringing our hands underneath our shoulders and our chest, curling our toes together and under our shins, we press back into child's pose. Deep breaths in, gently pressing into our kneeling plank, bringing our knees underneath us, child's pose. Rounding out the lower back, maybe shifting our weight left to right, allowing our head to hang heavy or coming all the way to the earth. Take a moment to give gratitude for our bodies, our strength, both physical and mental, the determination to come to the mat today, appreciating that some days that takes a lot more effort than others, knowing that this will benefit us in more ways than we can ever imagine. Curling ourselves up one vertebrae at a time, shoulders, neck, and head, hands to heart center, prayer pose. And we give thanks for the opportunity to practice together. We give thanks for this community, for this new year, for new intentions, for the light that is within us that we share with others. Taking a deep breath in, smiles on our faces, and we sigh it out. Namaste.